And I think I already don't like that. Yep. Not gonna work.
Strategy.
Almost tried.
Alert. Strategy alert. Are you crazy?
Nope, that was a complete accident. That was an example of what not to do. Yeah, this looks like this is gonna end poorly here. Okay, regular viewers. We are back. I can't believe how much the channel is growing. I truly appreciate it. This is amazing. It's so motivating. Thank you. We're just having so much fun here working on this stuff. We get such a lot of positive feedback. My regular editor and regular assistants just love, doing this stuff with me and responding to the comments and all that other fun YouTube-y stuff. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you like what you see here, leave a comment. Let us know if there's something you want me to try to work on or something like that. Let us know. We'll try to do that. And this week, we are talking about failure. We've talked about it before. Failure is not an option, right? So I was going through my failed lure bin. I'm pointing over here like you know where it is. And I found these two gems in there. And these are two different lures completely. This was a mold master that I made and painted up and actually did casting resin. I actually made a silicone mold. I spent money on this dog right here. That's right, I said it. Did a cast of it and all that other stuff. Yeah, like I said, I did a cast of it like a regular real lure builder that you watch, Marling Baits does a lot of these. The Engineered Angler, I know, does a lot of these. A lot of other folks there, but those are my two favorites for watching that. There's the tail section, the silicone mold of the tail section. And this is the, if I can take it out, very expensive silicone mold of the body section. You can see these are two different colors. The silicone was not working well and whatever, but it was relatively easy to do. Same principles as I do with the plaster molds. This stuff again is just more expensive. You can see there's a failed couple molds in it. That's what all the chunks are. Those were tips I think I learned from the Engineered Angler, so thank you to him for that. This is a style of hinge I watched Mr. Marlin Baits make, so thank you to him for that. These fish look nowhere near as good as either of those guys could make. Here's my attempt at fins. They look like, Lego chunks stuck to the side, but whatever. The bass didn't notice. So I couldn't ever get this to swim like a glide bait like I intended. And, that frustrated me. So all that to say, and this is the Alumalite casting resin. I guess this is the front of it or whatever. This is the Alumalite casting resin that I use. Fairly simple to work with. Again, this stuff isn't too expensive. This is where you really do spend the big bucks, buckaroos. But yeah. So this one I need to work on proper weighting and on all that other stuff, and making the internal harness and that kind of things. The mold was made for it. It does have an internal wire system, but anywho, this guy here was a mold that I had made out of plaster. This is it right here, and it comes with a nice hook slot. There is a slot for this tail fin, or dorsal fin rather, but I don't have it, so there that is. But yeah, this mold worked. I made a couple different tails for it. This one was like stupid long. And I could never get it to function and swim right. I know a little bit more about lure making now, and I have a different idea and design for it. But that's why I kept this one, because I knew it had potential. I kept the Mold Master because I knew it had potential. I tried to make this shorter, big, stupid paddle tail for it out of some foam and super glue. It looks really ugly. I understand that, but I'm going to keep it simple. I found on the line these right here, really big chatterbait bits, and I wanted to see, look at that. This is one of those unboxings you hear about, I guess, right? Oh, Look at that. Thank you for your purchase. Good luck to you. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and you're so welcome. I hope you enjoyed my American currency. So, I want to know if I put a big old chatterbait deal on this lure here. There's a topwater lure that I've seen. It's a glide bait, kind of crossed with a jitterbug front end, right? If you know what those look like. Okay, just kidding. That was a wasted airspace. But anyway, it's got a jitterbug front end on it, and it kind of does the thing. And I wanted to know if I could get an underwater kind of version of that with this big chatterbait deal on this sinking thing and see if I can actually get some action out of it. And that's really simple. And we may mess around with it a little more and try a couple different things. The other thing I wanted to do here is I made this out of my usual garbage wood. As you can see here by the striations, this is a paint stirrer stick right here, and I happen to have another one handy. One of my regular viewers sent me some photos of some fish that he had made with a paint stirred stick, and they look absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing is what the word would be. This does not, of course, rise to that caliber, but I just want to put a regular tail on it, kind of like this one, so that this lure here won't have any real action to it on its own, but we'll try to impart some with a big chatterbait lip and see if we can get it to wiggle there. So we just need to draw ourselves a tail. And I think I already don't like that. Trying to get the width there of that thing. Okay, so sorry, I was kind of messing around with this one on camera here. I think I have to do it this direction, or off camera. Did I say on camera? Liar! That was off camera. Anyway, I think I can find the shape within this mess of jumbled lines here that I'm looking for. I don't know if I can do a tail this way because that's against the grain, so that would break all over the place. So that's not good woodworkingness, which isn't a thing. My favorite sketching pencil appears to be out of lead, or graphite as it were. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Okay, let me cut this dog out here, and we'll work on this tail some more. We're over here in the regular vise. I want my coping saw. I feel like the coping saw is the best tool for this job. Ta-da! Don't bump the camera, rookie mistake. Wow. Super easy. Look out there, youngest regular assistant. You almost got knocked in the, you almost got knocked in the snoot. Well, you can watch for sure. Okay. Now for my next trick, I will try and clamp a tiny piece and cut the big piece. This is clearly going to end in tragedy. Let's see. Yep.
Oh no!
Yep. Not gonna work.
Tragedy.
Almost tragedy.
Alert. Strategy alert. Is that funny or not?
I don't know. Is it funny?
Yeah. Are you serious? Are you crazy? It is really funny.
Okay, we're gonna have to use another tool for that, so look out, you're wiggling the camera. Okay, so there's a really good chance that I didn't record all that. Basically, I was trying to shape it on this. I have a very long history of using a bench grinder for the wrong purposes, and woodworking being one of them, but I find it effective. So this is my tail thus far. So pretend you saw me doing bzz, bzz, bzz work over here, okay? Ta-da! Okay, so now we need to work on our fitment here, which means this tail's got to come off. Pay no attention to all the stuff I just threw on the floor for no good reason. Ta-da! Okay, As you can see, it doesn't quite fit, but I like the overall length. Let's get our reasonably sized measuring device. Okay, fishy, 4 inches. With the new tail, if we could pinch it, I think we'd be at 6. So good old bass catching size right there. All right. And I think I forgot to mention at the top, the reason that this is here is to split the dorsal fin in twain so that when you put your hook through here, you can kind of see where I sketched a hook in there just as I was working in my imagination station. And the hook kind of is going to come up here and texpose back, but it'll be hidden by this imaginary dorsal fin hider thing. So I might cut it down and just use the back half of it in the new mold there so that the front half of it is solid. So it'll be good for at least as many as 1 basses before that's destroyed. So, but who cares? We can remake it. So we shall get rid of this. Get that out of here because that was garbage idea. And we're going to super glue this on here. And through the magic of super glue and baking soda, I shall contour this so that it fits more betterer. And I'm going to go and carve it in the mold. I've had way better results, way more detail than trying to carve it on the fiche. So I might sand it a little more until forever so that it looks more uniform. But this is like a prototype thing. Thank you, reasonably sized measuring device. And, you know, I'm not even sure if this whole animal is going to work or not. So there, that is. Now a musical interlude as I sand this until forever. I was gardening. Probably if you're going to just show your hands on here, you probably want to clean them before that so you don't have, like, you know, gardening fingers. But I kind of think the gentlemen and ladies that might watch the show may understand that in all things, a little dirt might get on your fingernails. So if I really wanted to get crazy, I could touch this up with my Dremel tool. In fact, let's do it. Let's get crazy. Why not? It only happens. Dremels, ho! Okay, I think we reached ridiculousness has been achieved with that tail. And luckily, I cut them both not squarely, so they meet up squarely, almost like I knew what I was doing. Nope, that was a complete accident. Don't kid yourselves, kids. Okay, I'm going to glue this on here, and then I guess I got to go bananas with the Dremel tool some more and take off that a little bit. Bring that guy down to match that guy. And then super glue and baking soda, yada, yada, yada. And it never ends. Put a good old heaping helping of gel super glue on there. Put it down in your Dremel tool so that you definitely ruin that. Spray this with super glue accelerator. Refine the angle of the mess it upness. And combine. Ta-da! Ta-da! Okay. Looks fishy, huh? What are the odds now that I can work on this and not destroy it with the Dremel tool? Anybody want a piece of that action? Don't do this. That was an example of what not to do. I like this new accelerator I got, Mercury, and it's a great name too. So remembering that at some point you have to stop or you'll never be done with your project, I think we've achieved that. Because again, this is still a prototype. So I need to pump the brakes. And for those of you who are disappointed that I didn't show you how I made the rest of this, pretend it was like this part, except a lot longer. Looks like we kind of made a shark's tail now out of it. It's getting that Mako look, but you know, whatevs. I just want it to be flappy dappy. Okay, now that we've cleaned it off, we got to polyurethane the tail here, and so we will go over there to the polyurethane-a-thon department. Okay, so in reality, we only need the tail dipped, not the whole bait, but we'll go in a little bit further the first time if we can, I guess to there, because we don't want to make too much of a line on our lure from where the polyurethane stopped. So we only got to do that about a baker's dozen more times, and then that will be dried. Again, we're using the fancy china for this to drip on. Ta-da! Okay, we're back, regular viewers. Let's make a mold. So our fish is back from the dry cleaners, well, just from drying, and there we go. I've put in this cofferdam for this mold because it only needs to be that long. I was gonna do it this way, but then the bottom of the mold, this isn't square, right? So, well, let me see how bad unsquare it is. I guess it's not terrible, but that way it's, I don't know if that can come up on the camera, but that way is pretty bad. Maybe I can make it better live and on camera. Well, I guess that's more better. Just it's tore up on that side there, but anywho, so our fish has dried. We got a little bit extra in the tail right there, but that'll be okay. I'm not worried about that. I did think the eyes were just a skosh small on this one. I believe those are going to be like a 5mm eye. I like a bigger eye, especially how to bake this big, but the face is carved to make that anyway. And I don't know why it's got this, like, you know, huge bone on its head, but look, it's got nostrils so it can smell too. I guess I had a good day carving that day. I really am thinking about taking the front of this off, just like that. I'm gonna get this piece off too. Let's get some pliers, see if we can ruin this bait. I mean, yeah, this looks like this is gonna end poorly here. That is really stuck. There we go. That's pretty much off that lure. And the reason I did that is because I want to just use, if you envision this, the back half of this fin cut out in half so that when the hook comes up through here, it's going to go into here and actually be able to set in here. And that'll kind of act as a weed guard. So I'm going to clean this up with some sandpaper, because when I had made the mold originally and cut that fin all the way in half, it didn't quite work out like I wanted it to. I was kind of hoping it would stick up more like a dorsal fin, but it kind of fell in half and didn't work. So we'll try that on this one. And I thought if I left that piece in the mold on this side as it was, however that was, then when I went to go do the mold, if I put this in here and didn't put it on that side, then it would just make this piece out of plastisol, and I have to cut that off every time. So foregoing that. All right, that's still pretty nice. We'll put a little bit of petroleum jelly on it, just to make sure it's all slickery. So, but I think that'll come out as a nice flappy shad. So we're going to put it this way, and we're going to get a bunch of locators here in my locator cup. If I can locate it. So let's make up some plaster for this side of the mold. I'm going to turn a fan on, make sure we got some ventilation. Okay, set that aside. Let's prep this. Cover this before I knock it over. Terrible things happen. Again, I could use the cooking spray, but this is a cardboard material here, so I'll probably put some on it. Again, we're just trying to seal this cofferdam here. I'm sure there's a better word for it, but that's the word we're using today. This material that I used for this cofferdam is like a pressed cardboard thing. It was from my kid's toy box thing, but it will eventually succumb to the water here in this plaster and begin to turn into oatmeal. But it should work for just this one. Make sure we get those corners pretty good. This is a new mold, so I don't know how well it fits together yet. It looks pretty tight, but this is cheap insurance. We don't have to put any other kind of mold release in it, though, because we put so many layers during our polyurethane-a-thon from the last video, when we made this one, too. There we go. No leaks yet. That's a good sign. This stuff's pretty liquidy, so I assume we would have seen it by now. Put a couple strengthening sheets in it. But we're just trying to give it just a little bit of extra strength. Press these down. They tend to want to float up, but you can kind of convince them to stay deeper. You do have to contend with those bubbles, though. But our friend Green Brush here makes short work of all bubbles, all things bubble. Okay, we just talked about this and we didn't do it. I'm going to put just a little bit of petroleum jelly on the spot I just sanded. Okay. There it is. Floated perfectly. And we'll add one here for good measure. That's probably plenty of location for this mold. We're just going to let it set up and we'll be back when it's time to pour the other side. So we're pretty committed now to that shape. So hopefully we don't get an F on this project. And we'll be back. Okay. We are back, regular viewers. Let's see how our mold is doing. Hard as a rock. That's what we're looking for. Pop out our locators. You know, I forgot to do that one time. Very frustrating. Have mold with two sides of locators on them. Okay. Cooking spray. Engage. Just an oil-based spray on here. Cooking spray happens to be the cheapest and easiest way to accomplish that task. We'll hit that again. It does have a greasy layer on it, but when it's wet or not completely dry like that, it's still porous enough that it will absorb it as well. So you want a good thick coat on there so that you don't make a big brick, because I've done that before too, and that's heartbreaking right there. Get the bubbles out away from it. and put in our bracing right there. So we just added a lot of bubbles to it, but we can get those out. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for right there. These bubbles on the surface of this side of the mold obviously don't matter as much, but it helps an indicator of whether or not it sat nice around the mold there. If you have a spot like that where it's bubbling up around there, you're probably going to find that the plaster got under your mold master. But it is what it is. Okay, well, we'll come back when this is ready to unbox. Okay, regular viewers, we are back. Better than ever. Well, maybe than 5 minutes ago. Let's not be boastful, right? It should have been the right combination of screws to take this apart. Now for my next trick, maybe? I guess we gotta unbox it all the way? Oh, so much for trying to save time. Ta-da! Okay. Starting to feel like a crazy person. Starting to feel more like a crazy person than normal. Okay, there that is. Okay. That's ugly, but it's okay. We can work with it still. So, we got our fish here. A lot of bubbles here. Definitely didn't do the best job on that one. But again, this is another proof of concept mold. That came right out. That side looks nice. So we got a F, a 50%. Okay. We'll let this dry, see what we can do to clean up this garbage over here. But again, I paint my molds, polyurethane and whatever, but when the fish comes out too, if you haven't watched the videos, I add glitter, powder, paint to them, and then clear dip them after that. So it'll hide a lot of the sins, as it were, of the mold. But we do have our eye indent, so that's good. So at least get that. Got our fish back in relatively one piece. So we're just going to let this dry, and then we'll try and shoot it. Okay, regular viewers, so it's the next day. Our mold has dried enough. This one, I'm sorry, it just is terrible looking. We're going to try to pour it so I can get at least one fish to work with. But whilst we're doing that, I got an idea. I guess I have an idea to make my dog bark, to make this better. You've been sitting there for 5 minutes with no problems, and as soon as I turn this camera on, then you got to start barking. Why? What's wrong? Moving on. I'm going to make a skim coat of plaster here, and I'm going to then repress this into it, and that will effectively make this mold a little thinner. And I'm going to let it dry like that, and then take this fish off and see if we can't make this impression a little nicer. Yeah, because right now I don't know how well this is going to work or not work or whatever. I am going to use petroleum jelly as a mold release on this side, though, for sure, because, yeah, there's some deep little deals in there, and I don't know if the cooking spray will work. So I'm going to say a lot of that again, which isn't going to make sense after editing because you won't hear the dog barking. We experienced way too much canine interruptus. But yes, I'm going to petroleum jelly this side of it here to try to fill in some of these voids before I pour it. And like I thought I was saying is I think when I poured this second half, I sprayed it with my cooking spray as a mold release, which worked really well as a mold release, except for this area right here, but that's not important. I forgot to use the heat gun on it and get rid of all the little teensy bubbles, which got a lot worse as this was hardening there. So let's liberally apply petroleum jelly to this side of the mold. It's not going to be as nice when you do that because you'll get the brush strokes in it, but this one is ugly enough that it won't matter. There's so many imperfections in this mold on this side here that the few brush strokes are not going to take away from the ugliness. I guarantee that. I guarantee it. But it will make sure that this mold releases. So I don't know what order my videos are in right now or will be in, but it's right when I pause. It's like the effective pause makes the dog bark. See that? She apparently wishes to go back in the house, so do excuse me. All right. Man, that dog is like the washing machine in the world's worst fishing there that he's always contending with. If you're watching this channel, you've probably definitely seen his channel. He does some amazing work with some amazing equipment. But, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just regular over here, doing it with this regular stuff. If you want to get to that level, by all means, and maybe someday, if I'm a good boy and lucky, maybe I'll get to have some fancy stuff like that too, but we're not going to get away from this regular lure making because I just want to show everybody that you can do it yourself too. We're mixing up our plastic here one-handed so that I don't splatter it on myself. I really need to put gloves on. Let's do that. Be a good example for the folks at home. Safety first, I think. See, gloves. Pretty sure we have smothered and slathered that plenty. It still is absorbing it into the mold. I don't know if you can see that there, but like those spots are already kind of dried out. This is way more than I would normally use, but I'm trying to add a smoothness back to the lure best I can. Then after that we will clean it and we'll try to do the skim coat thing to it just to see if we can. This side is just beautiful. What we do need to find though, which I didn't prepare for because I'm not a regular professional, is I need to get find those bits that go in the mold there. Oh, look at that, huh? Make sure that these are plenty. Where did I just put that stuff? Wowzers. Oh, weird. How do you lose it on a bench top this small? But anyway, as I was trying to say about 32 minutes ago, I don't know what order my videos are coming out in. I had some major tragedy with a mega mold that I tried to make.
But we are still doing this video as I'm doing that video, and we're in the process of correcting that error and trying to move forward and make something visible and viable. Okay, so the reason I slathered those, these are also covered in petroleum jelly. The reason I slathered them with the petroleum jelly there was to make sure that they will come out of this fish just fine. So let's clamp this dog together.
You're going to have to use the bigger clamps because it's pretty thick mold. Through the magic of editing, though, that part was probably fast-forwarded. I'm not going to clamp this ridiculously tight because we don't want to cause any cracking. Just enough to hold it in place. We have our mostly silver color. Oops. Unprofessional. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit there and let it suck out whatever juice it needs as it cools. Put this back, and we'll be back when that's dry. Okay, here's nothing. Ooh, much better. Well, we got 2/3 of a fish. Weird, okay. We'll do that again. I was afraid to overpressurize the mold, but we got a nice flappy tail. Pretty cool. All right, reject, start over. At least that worked. And this side of the fish that wasn't so smooth actually came out pretty nice. So, all right, I was a little afraid to press hard on that. I'm gonna reapply and shoot it again. I'll be back when it's all ready. Okay, round 2. How did we do? That's a free rhyme for you. Okay, I'm done. Much better fish. Tail is not as pretty on this one, but it's still there. But at least we got a whole fish, so that's an improvement. Let's cut this off his snoot. A little rhinoplasty for you there, fishy. There you go. All the bits came out. So we have our half a dorsal fin with the built-in weed guard there. We've got a chin that needs trimming, and I guess that's an umbilical cord that fish don't have. Okay, moving on. I say we've got a usable specimen here. Now we can experiment with that. Spearmint, like the gum. Okay, like I said, other than the flappy or the tail, which was not all the way like that one, it is tail shaped, so what do you want for nothing? I just got to get used to pouring this mold, I guess. But even though this side is ugly, it is working. So we've got indents for eyeballs. This one could be a little bit better over here on the good side, but still a little bit of the detail from that, fins and whatnot. Wowzers. Okay, that's a win. We'll call that one a win. Let's retool and do it again. Got a couple friends named Win, so they may think that's their table, which, whatever. If they want it, go nuts. Try to hold pressure a little longer this time to make sure that it gets down there all the way. These inserts are working well. Let's just spray the insert guy. Got oil on them. I know it's ugly, but it's effective. And that is more important than pretty every day of the week. Which is why I have been so effective. Got a little bonus bait footage here. Just trying an experiment out on this one too. This is the Super Shad mold. That's right. World famous Super Shad mold. We were trying to pour. Oh, we did it! Look at that, huh? Little silver body with chartreuse tail. Hot dog in pajamas. It can be done. Dang. That almost looks like I knew what I was doing. Don't worry, folks. I didn't. I'm just regular. 2 usable specimens. They are not perfect by any stretch, but we are getting there. We're getting to the look that we want. But we have enough right now to go do a pool test. So we're going to go try and sneak over to the neighbor's pool and see if the flappy shad flaps. Here is the scam. What we are going to try to do is we're going to use this ultra big chatterbait lip because I have it. And mostly because I ordered the wrong size. I thought I ordered the size one smaller than this, but you know, little sausage fingers, I guess, got the best of me on that one. Okay, that is, yes, that's the back. That's upside down. We can fix that though. It's easier to do it this way. What in the world am I doing? This way. Okay, wowzers. Now for my next trick, I'll use logic and reason to attach this simple rig to the chatterbait blade. Holy smokes. Yeah, pretend I did it right the first time. Okay, so we have our weighted beast style hook here with a screw lock on it. Can't remember if this is an 8-aught or a 9 or 10. I don't know, it's some one of those aughts. But that's what fits this. That's what I made this bait for, and you can see where that hook is going to go. So let's put this in his snoot, which he'll really appreciate. The newer ones have the pin that goes in the middle, which I find more user-friendly, because this is probably going to mangle it up a little bit, not look quite as nice. Yeah, because he's trying to drive it out the side of his face. But okay. And let's put the hook up in there, all the way through.
Awesome lures.
Okay, so there's the hook down right behind the fin here to act as the weed guard. Push him up in there all the way, and then kind of texpose it into that. And I think that is how that is going to work. Put it right there in the slot. Okay, so there is that. Now, okay, and then this was the hard body bait, which we had made up with the thing on a chatterbait blade on it as well. So we're going to see if we can get that to work a little bit better. So we'll be back with the swim test of these two guys. Okay, so here's my prototype swim bait I made years ago with the large chatterbait blade attached to it. Let's see how it swims here. A little bit of a funky swim. I don't know if that's anything I'll use like that. Oh, got messed up around the hooks. So there's a problem I foresee happening a lot. Oh, got messed up again. All right, so I think it's back to the drawing board with this guy. Prototype of the flappy shad with the big chatterbait blade on it. Not a great action there. Hold on, let's try it again. That's pretty funky. Well, it's flapping for sure, but it's not quite chattering like a chatterbait should. Okay, back to the drawing board. So this flappy shad is a little bit heavier weight, and it has a spinnerbait blade trailing there to maybe add a little extra drag to it. Let's see if that affects the motion. Almost getting the action that we're looking for. That's a little more consistent. It is a flappy shad, that's for sure. What do you think? Is it flapping around enough?
It sure is flapping around, but it does
It's not really chattering like I want it to.
But it does swim like it hurt, doesn't it?
It does swim like it's hurt. Good point.
That will attract fish.
But that willow leaf blade is helping it track a little nicer. So I have a hook that's even heavier than this one. We might have to try it with that and see if we get an even better action. But I think this lure has potential. Let's see if we jig it, what happens. Well, it doesn't work too bad that way, actually. The more it does what it's supposed to do then. I don't know if the camera can see it way down there. Let's try that again. Look out. That works nice as a big jig, for sure. So that might be nice during the summer under those bait schools of bait there. All right. And we're back, regular viewers. Now a little musical interlude while I apply eyes and make these baits look a little bit shinier. I had to make up some extra paintbrush handle lures because I ended up using them fishing the other day, and I went through quite a few of them because I caught quite a few bass. So that was a nice surprise right there, I guess. Well, I don't guess. I know that was a nice surprise. And now, a musical interlude to curb your enthusiasm while I color these lures. Okay, regular viewers, the moment you've all been waiting for, the end of the video. So, just kidding. The fish are done. Here are these flappy shads. As you can see, they flap. And we've got various colors to choose from here. For those you up in New England, this really came out a lot like a pollock. If you remember those guys from the ocean. But yeah, that came out pretty pollock-esque. So you can see the imperfections in the mold causing this on the sides here. So the final verdict was this lure did not work like this. So that's going back to the drawing board again. The most luck I had was with this setup right here. And I need to make a note, when I first put these on, some reason my brain wasn't working and I just hooked that right onto the snap right onto the eye of the lure there. To connect these, I did a double split ring so that the chatterbait or the chatter blade would orient itself in the proper direction there. So these have a slot in them, but because of the clear dip, it has to be recut, which is not a big deal. And I did dip the heads on these a few times just to try and, there you go. Try and add a little bit of mass, make sure those eyes got held in a little more. This is, when I originally made it, I didn't have an eye this big, and I really wanted it to have a bigger eye like that. This gets screwed in. Try to put it in the center so that it looks a little nicer than that regular guy, but I guess you didn't. The back here, again, we need to cut this open just a little bit. Just the back half of this fin gets cut open here so that the hook, we'll just go just a little bit, just like that, so that the hook's going to have its own little weed guard. All right, bring that hook up through and poke it into that dorsal fin right there, and it'll come right through when you set the hook. And that's how I was rigging that. So where this chatterbait wasn't working quite as nice as I wanted, I might just rig one up tomorrow. I don't know what I just said there. I may just rig one up tomorrow without the chatter thing on it, just to see if the flappy shad comes through the weeded area that I'm fishing nice enough. But other than that, that was it. Thank you for joining me on this experimental adventure here. I think we've learned some things. I resurrected a lure that was otherwise, just doomed to the scrap heap here. So I may keep working on this. I may put another tail on it. I may do like a wedge style tail like this to see if we can get the flappy shad to flap like that. Or I may just kind of, put a hook through it and make it like a dead stick kind of lure. Maybe use it like a jig or something like that. Just kind of sits on the bottom, just kind of flops over. Looks like a dying shad. But I think there's potential with this bait. If you do too, please let me know in the comments. Just let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want me to see me do with this lure. And I'm going to keep trying with this blade here. I may even try just put a smaller blade on it. It could just be that this blade is just too big for this application. So I thought I would need a blade enormous to move a lure this big. But hey, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'll probably be wrong in moments after this video is done. So anyway, thank you so much for all the likes, comments, subscribes. I really do appreciate the support. You guys are growing this channel like bananas, and it's just wonderful. Thank you so much. You stay regular. First bass on that flappy shad. It's not a bad one either. Pretty good. Yes, the lure just fell off of it. Thank you, sir. Look at the colors on that one. Flappy shad, his mouth and everything. Hey, what are you kids doing?